45, 90 triangle, there's a shortcut you can use when all you know is one side. And once you know the shortcut, it will take you just a matter of seconds to find your two missing sides.
Okay.
But it only works in two cases, 30, 60, 90 and 45, 45, 90. So I'm going to just write the shortcut for you right now. You don't have to memorize it. You do need to know how to use it, and you do need to have all your notes like on the day of the final exam. You're going to want all your notes there so you can find it when you need it.
Wait,
Okay?
we can use our notes.
Okay,
Yes, Mr. Benson.
so that's why I told you not to throw any away. So look up here.
Stop.
I'm going to show it to you first, and then I'm going to show you how to use it. Right here, see the 30 degrees? You need to go to the side across from 30 degrees, and you need to put a little n. N is just a random variable chosen to show you the formula. It could be x, it could be L, it could be S, it could be a lot of things. The hypotenuse across from the right angle will always represent 2n. Okay, it's n this side times 2. Just write this down first and then I'll show you how to use it. Just get this written in because this is something that I can't explain to you where it comes from. That would take a lot of time. And right now, I want you to just know how to use it. And this side right here, the side across from 60 degrees will be represented by n radical square root 3. N radical 3. Okay? It will in a second. I just want you to have it written down first. Okay? All right, whenever you have a 30, 60, 90 triangle, if you figure out what one side is, and you know what n is, then all you do is plug in. Suppose that I said n was 8, okay? Then this side would be 8. What would this side be?
16.
16, 2 times 8. And this side would be 8 radical 3. Okay, so what we have to do is use these clues and just figure out what the end is, and then the rest of all goes together. All right, so let's do that here. When you have this triangle, I'm going to write this down later on, but for right now, I want you to see that what you do is start at the 30. Find that 30 degrees, and you go all the way across, and you call it n. So we just follow the same pattern. This is the across from the right angle. This 2n always represents the hypotenuse.
Yeah, 2n.
So 2n on the hypotenuse, that's right. And the other side is n radical 3. It's a long explanation as to why it comes out to that, but it comes out to that every single time.
So it's always 2n and n radical 3?
And the 2n is always on the hypotenuse, the n radical 3 is always on the side across from 6.
Like,
The longer side. And this one's the shorter leg. Yep. Okay, so now it's really easy. That's the hardest part of today. Although there's some radical review you have to do from algebra, but this is the easy part now. See how the 4 is given to you?
Yeah.
And these other two sides are blank. You take that 4
4
and you
is
figure out
n.
what it is. 4 is n. That's right. Okay? N is 4.
So 16 is the hypotenuse.
No, it's 2 times. 2 times.
So 8.
8. Good. 4 is n. You see that, right?
Yeah.
So the other rest of the problem, wherever there's an n, use 4. So we're going to say 2 times 4, and we're going to get 8. And this one's even easier. There's nothing to work out. All you do is put a 2, no, a 4 in place of the n, and there's your answer.
What's that?
4, radical 3. Wherever there's an n, you just put a 4. You just replace it. Done. This is simplified. 4 radical 3. That's just your answer.
That's it.
So once you see how the shortcut works, the rest of it becomes easy.
So that's it?
That's cool.
Where the
Where did you
30,
get the
60,
4 from?
How do people think of
All right.
How do you
The
figure
4 comes from it was given to you. Was it not printed on yours?
no.
The 4 was given to you, so that's where it comes. And look, the 4 is on the side that is represented by the n. So n is 4. All right, I'm going to show you some different variations, but it all follows from that same thing. 45, 45, 90, that has a totally different rule that you follow. It's a little bit shorter. What do you notice about this right here?
the same?
The angles are the same. When 2 angles are the same, then what else do you have?
Same
Alex, I'm looking.
lines.
Same sides, same segments, okay? When 2 angles are the same, then 2 sides are the same. So if these 2 angles are the same, then these 2 sides match. And we're going to call them both n.
Mr. Matthew,
Yeah.
how do you get 4, 3?
You,
That
in place
is
of an
it.
n, you put a 4.
Jesus. I thought you. Oh yeah.
Where that n was, I just put a 4 instead, and then I was done.
Okay.
Alright, so one side is n, the other leg is n. In this one, the hypotenuse is going to be represented as n radical 2.
Whatever.
Now it's different. It's not n radical 3.
3 is n.
In that example, yes, very good. But this formula, the shortcut, doesn't use the n radical 3, it uses n radical 2. You don't have to memorize that, but you do have to know how to use it when you see it. Okay, so let's put the shortcut in over here. These two legs that are not the hypotenuse, they match each other, so they both get called n. This is n and this is n.
So
The
the other
hypotenuse-
side's 3.
That's right. The hypotenuse is always represented by n radical 2. So let me make sure that everyone is there where we are. All you do next, that was the hard part. All you have to do next is look for the one that's given to you. You don't know this side, but you know this 3. And you look at what shortcut that goes with. 3 is the same as what? N. So wherever you have an n, you use a 3. So this n, I can plug it in, get 3.
Yes.
This n, I can plug it in and get what?
3.
And then,
Radical 2.
yep, the n is in front of radical 2, so your 3 has to be in front of radical 2. And those are your two sides. Okay, these are shortcuts that you use when you see 30, 60, 90, or 45, 45, 90. So go ahead and fill these in just so you have it. The hypotenuse will be twice as long as the shorter leg. The shorter leg is always represented by the n. And the longer leg is radical 3 times as long as the shorter leg. The shorter leg, n, times radical 3. Here, the hypotenuse is radical 2 times as long as either the legs, because the two legs match, they are n. Okay. So now, let's do a few examples, and make sure that you got it, and then, anyone still writing? Okay, so look at example A. Is this a 30, 60, 90, or 45, 45, 90? 30, 60, 90. Good. This is 60 right here. This is 90. If you subtracted from 180, you would get the 30 degrees that you need.
Yes.
Now write this down up above. For 30, 60, 90 triangles only, always place n across from, nope, across from the 30 degrees. 30 degrees is the smallest angle, so approximate is going to be the smallest side. From there, you just go through the rest of the pattern. Always place 2n where? Hypotenuse, yep. Always place n radical 3 on the remaining side. So here's my 30 degrees. You go across from that and you say it's going to be n. You go to your hypotenuse, and what do you always put on the hypotenuse? 2n. Now this can be flipped around, but it's still going to be across from the right angle. And then this side is going to be?
And radical 3.
Okay, so the shortcut is there. Now to figure out what n is, it's going to take a little bit of thought. Cell phones away. It's going to take a little bit of thought, but we can do it. Look around the triangle. Find me a number that's given to you.
90.
90. Now look carefully. 90 is the same as what? Not n this time. 90 is the same as 2n. So in your mind, think 90 equals 2n. What would n have to be? 45. And then wherever you have 45, or wherever you have n, you plug in 485. Okay, so you just find the number that's given to you, you figure out how it relates to n, figure out what n would be, and then plug n in. So in this case, I'm just going to erase that so it doesn't get in the way. And we have, what would go right here? 45. And if n is 45, what happens right here?
15.
45 radical 3. You don't divide, you just put it times radical 3.
Oh yeah. I remember this.
Okay? Go down to the next row, number 1 and 2. Let's stick with 30, 60, 90 for a little while. Okay, now the triangle's flipped around a little bit, but that's okay. We always are going to start across from the 30-degree angle right here.
N is 10.
N is across from the 30, that's right. So if you look over here, N is 10, N is this side. What do I put for the hypotenuse every time?
2N.
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 And the other side,
Radical 3.
N radical 3.
I got it.
There you go.
Do that first.
10, 20.
Okay, so the next step, I want to make sure everybody sees that. What is the one number that they gave me, the given side? 10.
10.
So look at that and see what that goes with. 10 is just what?
10N.
10 is N. N is 10. 10 is N, N is 10. They're the same side. So then you just start plugging it in. 2 times 10, 20. Questions on that? All you're doing is plugging it in. 10 times radical 3 doesn't have to go any further. That's your side.
That's the goal, man.
Good.
I love them.
Number 2. Where do I start?
I know. Across the 30.
Across 30.
Excellent. Find your 30 degrees, look across from it, and place the N there. Because that's the shortest one. We'll build upon that. N there. What's the next one you should do?
Hypotenuse.
And call it what?
2N.
2N. And on the third side that's still blank,
So,
N radical 3.
N is 13.
Good. Let's make sure everyone sees that. Look at what you're given right here. You're given the number 26. Look carefully at what that represents. That is not N. That's the hypotenuse. So N would actually be what if 2N equals 26?
13.
13. So if 2N equals 26, then N would be 13. And that's the number you use for the rest of your problem. The short side is 13. The longer side is 13, rad 3, and you're done. You what? These blue numbers is just the rule that you have to memorize and write it.
Instead of making
It'll be
instant
N over time.
broadcast.
Is N always going to be on that?
And it's always going to be on the opposite from 30. That's how you know where the end goes. Find your 30 first, and then go across from it.
Some random rapist in Africa.
Okay, you guys, focus please. Look at example B. You know what? Cross off number 3 because we're not getting into that much detail before your final exam.
Alright, dog.
This goes into more algebra than what we've really practiced yet. Alright, letter B. This is a 45, 45, 90 triangle now. I don't use the same formulas. What goes on these two sides when they match?
N.
N and N. Good. So this is N, this is N. And the hypotenuse will be N radical 2. If you want to know where that comes from, look at the top of your paper. It's just a rule that we wrote down.
Aww.
Alright, before anybody calls it out, everybody look at the number that you know right here and think about what that is equal to. What would N be?
And it would be 50, no, 100, wait.
N is right here. What would N be?
100?
100.
Oh.
Do you see that? See how that works? So you take the number that you know and you find out what the shortcut to goes with it. So if N is 100, and we use it everywhere. This N is also 100.
Oh, yeah.
And this N is
You miss me? No.
alright, so look at the bottom row. Let's do some 45, 45, 90s and we'll do some practice. And
And
then
it's
just
over.
look at work. Alright. Look at the bottom row, number 4. You guys, it's going to be so much easier for you if you just write in the little N's every time. Okay?
Yeah.
Put the headphones up.
Wow.
You need to get in that habit. Eventually you might have it memorized. Eventually you might be able to do it without writing that. But right now it'll save you a lot of
What
grief.
did Alex?
So where?
Yeah.
Listen up. I'm gonna point to a side. You tell me what to write there. What do I write right here?
N.
Yep. What do I write right here?
Radical N.
It would be 2 and if it was a 30, 60, 90. This one has the 45 degrees. So look at that one. And this side?
N.
Okay. So they told me 5 goes right here. What does N equal? N equals 5. So take your 5 and plug it in for this end. And plug it in right here. 5 radical.
I get this!
Awesome.
It's gonna get so confusing.
Now the only thing that gets confusing is when you have to multiply a radical by a radical. You already know how to do that.
Alex,
right?
that theore's over there, not over
Your
here.
radical times itself, and this is the radical is the way to the number. You'll see some examples like that.
Alright.
Number 5 and 6.
Over there.
I'm gonna point to a side. You tell me what to write there, right here.
And,
And
and house 2.
and radical 2 plus across from the right angle. And this side.
And
Alright, now this is a case where I told you the algebra gets a little different, but the geometry rule is the same. You still put n, and radical 2. Put your cell phones away and focus up here. Really get this. Now this time, I know it looks weird. You think that the radical 2 should be here. For the rule, that's true. But they can give you any information they want. They can call n whatever they want.
whatever
So
they
n is 3 radical 2. The n is 3 radical 2. Let me show you how to deal with that.
I know how to do that.
Good. This n right here becomes the same n over here. This side is going to be represented by 3 radical 2.
And then the other one's gonna be 3 radical 4.
But we're going to simplify the radical 4. So watch this. N, I'm going to put a blank because I'm going to fill that in. Whatever I have for n, I have to still multiply by radical 2. So now I fill in the n. N is 3 radical 2. And I use that in my parentheses to replace the n. 3 radical 2.
are.
So we have a 3. What do we have when we do radical 2 times radical 2? What does that come out to be?
4.
Which is really just final answer, yeah. But radical 2 times radical 2 is just plain old 2. Square root of 4 is just 2. Or when they match each other, you get rid of the house. So the answer is 3 times 2 or just 6. So that's a weird one.
Okay, hold on. Let me copy that. 3. Wait. This is number 5. Yeah.
Number 6. No.
Hurry up, Eli.
This one, what would I put right here?
N.
And what would I put right here?
N.
And this one?
N. House 2.
And
Yes.
that two.
House 2.
Alright, you guys, now we could write this out, or you can look at this carefully
Look
and
at
think
that.
about the fact that n has to be the number in front of radical 2. What is the number right here?
0.
Not 0, it's not gone. What is it?
1.
1.
It's a 1. It's an imaginary 1. Okay. So n equals 1 because n radical 2 matches 1 radical 2. The n is the number in front. So, what is this side going to be? And what's the other side? Okay, I did not have enough supplies for everybody to do one of these, so
Yeah, I
I
was
want
gonna
you
do
to
it.
pick a partner.